visit us here at the Botanic Garden at Oklahoma State University, you probably have seen our rock garden. Well, it's been here for several years and it's come to a point where we want to sort of give it a new life again. So joining me is Professor Cheryl Mahako, who is one of our landscape architecture professors. Professor Mahako, so you're going to help us with this project. So tell us a little bit about where do we go? Because I think a lot of homeowners probably have a similar situation.
Yeah, it's always great to think about a new garden, to plan a new garden. It's really exciting. But before we do that, the site of the existing garden can really tell us a lot about how that garden did and potentially how our new garden will do. So I think really looking at the site, we can really see the bones and maybe it'll help us make decisions for the new garden.
So when you talk about the bones of a garden, are we talking about the hardscape, the soil, and hardscape being any structures, rocks, stuff like that?
Right. Those things that usually are hardscape. Sometimes we talk about the bones of the garden in terms of permanent planting.
Okay.
So when we look at this garden, it's not just the actual site where the rock garden was existing. It really is important to take a look at what's surrounding the site and what affects the site. And so we have some really interesting features to consider about how we then bring into the new garden. So the black walnut that covers this garden doesn't interfere with any of the light because we have this beautiful south exposure. That's why the rock garden did so well. But when we look at it, it's of course any shade in Oklahoma is always appreciated, but it's time that it just needs a little work too. Okay. So we are bringing in an arborist to take a look at just limbing it up a little, maybe bringing it up so that when you look at the new garden, the leaves aren't in your sight line.
Right.
And then also over time, there's been some, of course, ice storms that have broken some limbs. So we're going to get all that cleaned up.
Okay, so it probably just needs a little bit of maintenance
just
on
a
it
little
anyway.
work on that.
Yeah. So what's kind of the first step? I mean, it can be intimidating, especially for somebody who is not a professional architect.
Right.
Like, how do I approach this? Do I just start digging and pulling plants or what?
I think it's important to know where you're going. You know, you have to have some idea about it. That'll really help out. So in this case, what we're going to try to do in this garden is going to be to introduce some new cactus and succulent, really cold hardy ones. And this is the perfect site because it's already been a garden that is on a slope, that has not been supplementally watered. So we're looking carefully in this garden to see what we can reuse in terms of plant material.
Okay.
And there are some things.
So your design theme of a hardy succulent garden sort of was inspired by the fact that it was previously a rock garden, right?
Exactly.
So it's not like you're going to change this all of a sudden to an azalea garden that needs really high or low pH or anything like that. You're keeping the intention a little bit similar.
Exactly. We're really just tweaking it.
Okay.
There's been a lot of interest in cold hardy cactus and succulent. I know the ambassadors here have been very interested in it. Of course, our cold winters and just the variety. So we're going to, we are collecting plants now. We're looking at plants as far away as Taos, New Mexico, trying to find native cactus. So we're getting all those ready. But as we look at this garden, some of the things that we can include are the yuccas that are existing. And even in this case, where the yuccas are planted, we're going to go ahead and just leave them there and design around them. There's some other small plant material, like some of the euphorbias. I think we're probably going to dig those up and pot them up until we plant, but everything else will come out. And when we do that, we will probably any stone that's football size or a little bit bigger, we'll go ahead and pick those up and put them off to the side, stockpile them, and then really see what we have under there.
Okay.
When this garden was built, because it was intended as that rock garden, we know we have really good drainage, but we really don't know what's all the way under there. Was there some fabric or some plastic? Is there something that we need to replace?
So this is your opportunity to really dig in, no pun intended, and actually invest or enhance that soil if need be.
Right. And the idea behind a succulent garden, one of the things we know we can do to really help improve its viability is that we'll actually build up. So we do want to dig down, clean it out, see what's there, set those stones aside, and then when we put the plant material back in, we'll be specifically sculpting it in a way that the stones will help support the plant.
Okay. Cheryl, I always kind of think of it as like somebody redoing their living room, right? You're probably not going to go and get a new couch, but
Right.
you might go get new throw pillows, change the color of the paint, some of that stuff. And so that's sort of like what we're doing here. We're deciding what we're going to keep, and then what we need to change, and then go forward with our plan. Well, Cheryl, I know y'all have a lot of work ahead of you, and we look forward to actually following this through the season. So we'll check back with you soon.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.